to leave some parties to some regions. How well is it working for you? And do you think that this will be a challenge on the other side, even as an outsider looking in?
Thank you, Fred, and sorry that we have come in late. Allow me just 1 minute to comment about the debate that you had.
Very briefly, because of time.
1 minute to say that yes, I do support the president's comment that there should be de-escalation of the fight in the east. But I strongly, oppose the president's seeming to have taken a position, because we cannot afford to take a position in this matter. And because I was watching my colleagues online, they also took a position and were trying to justify, maybe the war against Iran and what Iran is doing in retaliation after it was hit. Of course, I don't think that was the question. The question was, should the president have been that quick to issue a statement, especially where he betrayed Kenya as having taken a position against Iran? And you observed very well that we are friends to both Iran and the US, and that is why we should be neutral in this matter. But as for de-escalation, that is something that anybody that wishes the world well should call for. But taking sides, that is not anything that we can support. And don't forget, we must not forget that regardless of the reasons that the US and Israel gave for attacking Iran, but there is a procedure before you attack a country. I think they should have taken it to the UN, and they should have been able to get approval and ratification by the UN before they struck Iran. So there are those gaps that need. But anyway, because we were late, let's hope that we'll be able to talk about it another day. Now, talking about the issue of UDA and ODM. And the zoning that ODM called for yesterday. First of all, my friend and colleague Senator Mungatana likes calling the opposition a disunited opposition, and I meet him quite severally, even in other areas. But and he has a right to his views. But looking at this UDA ODM, coalition of sorts. It shows that if there is any disunity that is going to happen, Fred, then it is going to be UDA and ODM. As we speak, UDA insists that they will have to take the deputy president's position in that particular coalition. And then there's a big bone of contention that will be there, and that will bring division, of course, because we know ODM, on the other hand, is demanding, and no less than the party leader has said, hiyo kiti ndio tunarenga sana. So, I mean, that is something that is going to bring a lot of, disunity in this coalition that Senator Mungatana we want to call a united coalition, the broad-based government. It has many names, blood-based, bread-based, and so what we are saying is, now ODM is talking about zoning. But basically, they'll get their time.
We are not in Parliament.
They'll get their time.
No, we are not in the House of Parliament. Yeah.
Basically, I agree with Senator Mungatana on one thing, that when you are in a coalition, and especially in urban areas, that each of the parties forming this coalition then fronts a candidate, then of course you run the risk of playing to the advantage of the opponent. And so there should be a particular arrangement between parties that get you into a coalition, whether now UDA and ODM or the united opposition. Because, for example, and Senator Mungatana captured it very well, for example, even Nairobi, say DCP has a candidate, a gubernatorial candidate. Mm-hmm. I mean, Wiper has a gubernatorial candidate. Mm-hmm. DAP Kenya has a gubernatorial candidate. DP has a gubernatorial candidate. Then, of course, they will, split their vote, and the opponent will be at an advantage. So I think it's important that parties forming a coalition come together. Maybe the ideal position should be let them dissolve their parties and form a coalition like Jubilee in 2017, so that then they do nominations for the for the joint ticket.
Would that work for the united opposition? Like forming a bigger party instead of having too many parties in that condition?
Well, it will depend on what the principals, decide. But I think if it will not be, coming together to form one party, I don't know whether the remaining time to the elections can allow that. But if it will not be bringing the parties together to form one big coalition party, then I think there should be some arrangement between the parties.
We saw the challenges you had during the by-elections, especially in places like Malava, where DAP Kenya and DCP had candidates and one had to pull out at the last minute. Whatever they're facing, you're also facing. Do you agree that this zoning will also be a bone of contention for you?
Of the divide, I mean, each side will have to decide on which candidates to front where and which parties will do that. And that is something that can be done in a way. I mean, you can have, an opinion poll, for example, and see whom the stronger candidate is. And regardless of the party that they belong to, then you front that as a joint candidate. So that's also another way. There are many ways of killing a cat.
And before I get to Bwana Kiplagat and Madam Pasaris, let's get some feedback on what's happening. What are people saying with regard to this conversation? Do you support this issue of zoning as well?